What if I told you there's a single farm so massive that it's bigger than the entire state of Connecticut? While you're tending your backyard garden, there are agricultural operations so enormous they can be seen from space, producing enough food to feed entire nations. These aren't just big farms, they're agricultural empires that dwarf anything you can imagine. What I'm about to show you will completely change how you think about farming and make you realize just how small even the largest American farms really are. Farm number 7, King Ranch, Texas, USA. Let's start close to home with America's largest ranch, a Texas legend that spans an incredible 825,000 acres across multiple counties. King Ranch isn't just big, it's larger than the state of Rhode Island and has been operating continuously since 1853, making it one of the oldest and most successful agricultural operations in American history. This massive operation runs over 35,000 head of cattle across landscapes so vast that cowboys still use helicopters and airplanes to manage the herds. The ranch is so large that it has its own zip code, fire department, and even its own railroad system for moving cattle and equipment. What makes King Ranch truly remarkable is that it's still family-owned after 6 generations, proving that American agricultural traditions can thrive on an enormous scale. But King Ranch isn't just about cattle. They also grow cotton, grain, sorghum, and other crops on hundreds of thousands of acres. The operation is so sophisticated that they've developed their own cattle breeds, including the famous Santa Gertrudis, which was the first beef breed developed in America. The ranch employs over 400 people year-round and operates like a small city, with its own housing, schools, and medical facilities. The scale is almost impossible to comprehend. You could drive for hours across King Ranch property without ever leaving their land. This Texas giant represents the pinnacle of American ranching, where traditional cowboy culture meets modern agricultural technology to create one of the most productive farming operations on Earth. The ranch generates over $300 million annually and has survived droughts, economic downturns, and changing markets by constantly adapting while maintaining its core identity as a working cattle ranch. Farm number 6, Anna Creek Station, South Australia. Deep in the Australian outback sits a cattle station so massive it makes Texas ranches look like hobby farms. Anna Creek Station covers an astounding 6 million acres. That's larger than the entire state of Maryland and makes it the largest cattle station in the world by land area. The numbers are staggering. This single property is roughly the size of Belgium, yet it runs only about 17,000 head of cattle, because the harsh desert environment can only support a few animals per square mile. The station is so remote that supplies are delivered by airplane, and workers often go weeks without seeing another human being outside their immediate crew. Managing Anna Creek requires a completely different approach to ranching than anything Americans are familiar with. Cowboys use helicopters, motorcycles, and GPS tracking to monitor herds across distances that would take days to cross on horseback. The station has its own airstrip, workshops, and living quarters that function like a small town in the middle of nowhere. What makes Anna Creek truly mind-blowing is the logistics involved in running such a massive operation in one of the world's harshest environments. Water is trucked in or pumped from underground sources hundreds of miles away, and every decision must account for the extreme isolation and brutal climate that defines the Australian outback. The station operates on a budget of millions of dollars annually just for basic maintenance and supplies, with helicopters burning through thousands of gallons of fuel each month to monitor cattle across the vast landscape. Farm number 5, Clifton Hills Station, South Australia. Not far from Anna Creek sits another Australian giant that proves the outback breeds farming operations on an unimaginable scale. Clifton Hills Station spans 4.2 million acres of some of the most challenging agricultural land on Earth, where temperatures can soar over 120 degrees Fahrenheit and rainfall is measured in inches per year rather than per month. This massive cattle station has been operating since 1876, making it one of the oldest continuously running agricultural operations in Australia. The property is so large that it takes over 8 hours to drive from one end to the other, and workers often spend weeks at remote camps without returning to the main homestead. The cattle at Clifton Hills are specially adapted to survive in conditions that would kill most livestock. They're hardy breeds that can travel miles between water sources and survive on sparse desert vegetation that looks more like moonscape than pasture. The station uses solar-powered water pumps and satellite monitoring to track both cattle and environmental conditions across the vast property. What's truly remarkable about Clifton Hills is how it demonstrates the extremes of modern agriculture. While American farmers worry about drought conditions, these Australian operations have built their entire business model around environments where water is scarce and vegetation is minimal. Yet they still manage to produce beef for global markets. The station maintains over 200 miles of fencing and operates more than 50 water points, each requiring regular maintenance by crews who must travel hundreds of miles between locations. Farm number 4, Mudan Jiang Mega Farm, China. Welcome to the future of agriculture, a Chinese mega farm that spans over 22 million acres and represents the largest agricultural operation ever created by human hands. This isn't just a farm. It's an agricultural empire that covers an area larger than South Carolina and produces food for hundreds of millions of people. The Mudan Jiang operation specializes in dairy production on a scale that defies imagination, housing over 100,000 dairy cows in facilities that look more like factories than traditional farms. The entire operation is managed using artificial intelligence, robotics, and satellite monitoring that tracks everything from individual cow health to soil moisture levels across millions of acres. This mega farm represents China's strategy for achieving food security through massive, centrally planned agricultural operations. The scale allows for incredible efficiency. Automated milking systems, computer-controlled feeding, and precision agriculture techniques that maximize production while minimizing waste. The operation produces enough milk to supply major Chinese cities while also growing feed crops across vast acreages. What makes Mudan Jiang truly shocking is how it challenges traditional ideas about farming. This isn't agriculture as Americans know it. It's industrial food production on a scale that treats farming like manufacturing, with the same emphasis on efficiency, automation, and massive scale that characterizes modern industry. The operation employs over 10,000 workers and operates its own processing facilities, transportation networks, and research centers, essentially functioning as a self-contained agricultural city that produces billions of dollars worth of food annually. Farm number 3, Almarai Dairy Farm, Saudi Arabia. In the middle of the Arabian Desert, where temperatures regularly exceed 110 degrees Fahrenheit and rainfall is virtually non-existent, sits one of the world's most technologically advanced dairy operations. Almarai's mega farm covers over 400,000 acres of desert that has been transformed into productive agricultural land through sheer engineering brilliance and unlimited financial resources. This Saudi operation houses over 170,000 dairy cows in climate-controlled facilities that maintain perfect conditions regardless of the brutal desert environment outside. The farm uses desalinated seawater for irrigation and drinking water, pumping millions of gallons daily through systems that would make American farmers' heads spin. The scale of technology at Almarai is breathtaking. Automated milking systems handle thousands of cows per hour, while computer-controlled feeding systems deliver precisely calculated nutrition to each animal. The farm even grows its own feed crops, using circular irrigation systems that create perfect green circles visible from space in the middle of the desert. What makes Almarai truly mind-blowing is how it proves that modern technology can create productive agriculture anywhere on Earth. This operation produces fresh milk and dairy products in one of the world's most challenging environments, shipping products across the Middle East and proving that geography is no longer a limitation for large-scale food production. The farm consumes more electricity than many small cities, operating massive cooling systems, desalination plants, and processing facilities that run 24 hours a day to maintain production in the desert heat. Farm number 2, Jiang Beida Huang Group, China. Covering over 5.3 million acres across northeastern China, the Beida Huang Group represents agricultural planning on a scale that most Americans can't comprehend. This massive operation was created by combining hundreds of smaller farms into a single, centrally managed agricultural empire that feeds a significant portion of China's population. The Beida Huang Group specializes in grain production, growing soybeans, corn, and rice across landscapes so vast they require satellite monitoring to manage effectively. The operation uses precision agriculture techniques, GPS-guided tractors, and automated harvesting systems that work around the clock during harvest season to bring in crops from millions of acres. What makes this operation truly remarkable is its integration of technology and traditional farming knowledge. While the scale is thoroughly modern, the farming techniques often incorporate thousands of years of Chinese agricultural wisdom, creating a unique blend of ancient knowledge and cutting-edge technology. The logistics of managing Beida Huang are staggering. The operation employs tens of thousands of workers, operates its own transportation networks, and even has its own research facilities developing new crop varieties and farming techniques. This isn't just a farm, it's an agricultural corporation that functions like a small country dedicated entirely to food production. The group produces over 4 million tons of grain annually and operates its own seed production facilities, machinery manufacturing plants, and food processing centers, creating a completely integrated agricultural ecosystem. Farm number 1, Rousagrow, Russia. At the top of our list sits a Russian agricultural empire that spans over 2.5 million acres across multiple regions, making it one of the largest and most diversified farming operations on Earth. Rousagrow isn't just massive. It's a vertically integrated agricultural corporation that controls everything from seed production to retail distribution. This Russian giant operates in some of the world's most challenging agricultural conditions, where winter temperatures can drop to -40 degrees Fahrenheit, and growing seasons are measured in months rather than the year-round production possible in warmer climates. Yet, Rousagrow has mastered cold climate agriculture on a scale that produces enough food to supply major European markets. The operation grows everything from sugar beets to sunflowers, across landscapes so vast that different regions experience completely different weather patterns simultaneously. Rousagrow uses satellite monitoring, precision agriculture, and massive mechanized systems to manage crops across distances that would take days to cross by car. What makes Rousagrow truly extraordinary is how it demonstrates that massive-scale agriculture can succeed even in the world's most challenging environments. This operation proves that with enough technology, planning, and resources, productive agriculture is possible anywhere on Earth, regardless of climate or geography. The scale and success of Rousagrow represents the future of global food production. Massive, technologically advanced operations that can feed entire continents. The company operates over 600 pieces of heavy machinery, including some of the world's largest tractors and combines, while maintaining its own fleet of trucks, trains, and storage facilities. Rousagrow produces over 1 million tons of sugar annually and exports products to over 30 countries, generating billions in revenue while employing thousands of workers across rural Russia, where few other economic opportunities exist. These 7 massive farms prove that modern agriculture operates on scales that would have been impossible to imagine just a generation ago. From Texas ranches larger than entire states to Chinese megafarms that feed hundreds of millions, these operations represent the cutting edge of global food production and the incredible ingenuity required to feed our growing world. While your backyard garden is important and valuable, these agricultural giants remind us that feeding the planet requires thinking on scales that challenge everything we thought we knew about farming. If you're fascinated by the incredible world of large-scale agriculture and want to learn more about how food production really works, make sure to subscribe for more mind-blowing facts about the systems that keep our world fed. And don't miss the next video on your screen where I reveal even more shocking truths about modern agriculture that will change how you think about food forever.